This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim pass the assist, you know that it's number one show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sob like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. Good afternoon, folks, ladies and gentlemen. We are here. The Knicks take on the Brooklyn Nets tonight. The new look Brooklyn Nets, the brand new Brooklyn Nets. I'm not even sure how Tom Thibodeau and the gang tried to scout this team. It's not much to scout because they've only played one game together. But we'll see how this game looks tonight, folks. Andy, what's poppin' with you, man?
What up, Sim? Happy to be on with you. Listen, the only way they could scout him is from that one game or simulate NBK, 2K games,
Right.
with the new roster.
Right,
That's
right.
the only way
That's the only
they
thing
could have
you really
film
do.
on him.
Yeah, I mean that roster, it was crazy because they started against Philadelphia. They started almost everybody that they traded for.
Yeah, I heard four new guys, right? So,
Yeah. I mean, right off the bat, bam. They didn't even, they didn't wait for anything. They just went ahead and started them. And guys who were starting hit the bench. And when I say they hit the bench, I mean, they got 15, 16 minutes. You know what I mean? So, that's yeah.
And so what's worth noting that I was thinking of, the Cam Thomas. Listen, he had 3 40-point games, right? And he got benched as soon as the new guys were available. I was like, wow, they're gonna sit a dude so hot.
Right. That's something that I was questioning. Like, man, why are you gonna sit this guy? He's burning it up, but I don't know. You know what I mean? But that team played well. They played well. They really did compete against the Philadelphia 76ers. One of the top teams in the Eastern Conference. Now they may, all of them may not have been there for the Brooklyn, New York rivalry thing and all of that, but they know what it is. You know what I'm saying? Now that they represent the Nets, they want to get this win. And the Knicks, now the pressure is a little bit more on them. It used to be on the Nets when they had Kyrie and KD. It used to be on the Nets to get the win. Now the pressure is a little bit more on the Knicks. Do you look at this, Andy, as this is a game that the Knicks, like one of those teams that they should beat now that the Nets are who they are?
Yeah, I agree, Sim, totally. Not to mention that I said that the Knicks will, gain ground on the Nets and probably take over for a secure top 6 seed in the East. That means, somebody's got to drop, and the most, team that fans and probably general managers and whoever thinks is going to drop out is the Nets.
Right. They're thinking the Nets are going to drop out, and they probably will. Now the thing is, they have enough of a lead or enough of a separation between their win-loss record that they can stay in contention and probably stay in the play-in. All they got to do is win some games. And if they could play 500 basketball, they might be able to stay in the top 6 if they could play 500 basketball.
True.
We'll see how capable they are of staying in that top 6. You know what I mean? But this is going to be a competitive game tonight, I think. You know what I mean? I don't think it's just going to be a walkover. They have some talented players on the team. They haven't come together as a team, but they have some talented players on the team. Steph, what's going on with you today? How you feeling?
I'm good, Sam. Andy, Nate, long time. Feeling good about tonight. I'm looking forward to seeing the new look Nets and Knicks because we sure look different the last game.
Yeah. Nate, what's going on, man?
How you doing, boss?
How
How's
you
it going,
feeling?
guys?
How you feeling about tonight?
Good.
I'm a little concerned because I think the Nets are playing with house money coming into this game. They playing loose. The last game, I watched them play, and they played very loose. They moved the ball around the whole time. They really got on the defensive end. They have a lot of length, a lot of wings they can throw at us. So I'm a little worried because, with Brunson only being 6'1", you know, Julius is 6'8". That length is going to be a problem for us. And
Uh,
so we're going
I
to have to
mean,
bully them.
Utah was bigger than them.
True, but they have more athleticism on this team than that Utah did.
Eh, maybe. I mean, maybe. But Utah had like 3 7-footers down there. You know what I'm saying? And it affected the Knicks a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes tonight against the Nets. One of the things about, you say, they move the ball around, boom, boom, boom. They only scored 98 points, right, against Philadelphia. So when you see the team moving the ball around, it may not just be that this is what their offense is. It may be that they don't have guys that can create a shot. And that's the reason why they got to keep the ball moving. So, don't let that just fool you just because you see the ball being passed around a lot. You know what I mean? They don't have, obviously Cam Thomas can create and score the basketball, but he didn't play as much versus the Philadelphia 76ers. When you look at the projected starting lineups, the Knicks, Jalen Brunson, Quentin Grimes, R.J. Barrett, Julius Randle, Jericho Sims. For the Nets, Spencer Dinwiddie, Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Nick Claxton. Andy, what's your thoughts between the two lineups here?
Well, it's like Nate said, they got long 3-and-D guys on that lineup. Brunson might have a problem if they're going to be switching, because even Dinwiddie, he's way, his wingspan is going to make Brunson uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Then again, we saw Jalen handle even better defenders than Spencer Dinwiddie and the whole Nets team, right? I'm not expecting maybe a 35, 40-point game from Brunson, but I think he's going to have that steady 25-point game tonight. And listen, as long as the rest of the squad goes, I think we've got to play what Knicks play from game one this season. I would be happy if we were moving the ball a little bit more. But Sim, if it's effective, I'm going to take the W any way it comes.
Any way it comes. The Knicks had, 18, 19 assists against Utah. I take the win any way that it comes. I don't care if it's pretty or ugly. Just give me the win. You know what I mean? Steph, what do you think about the matchups, the lineups?
Yeah, I think I'm over they're taller than Brunson, stronger than Brunson, tough. I'm just over it because I've just seen him. Doesn't really matter. I've seen him score over Embiid. I've seen him the first time we played Phoenix, Mikal Bridges. He scored like to me, it's just a non-issue. At this point, given how much I've seen him work. That being said, they have defenders at every position. So it's not going to be easy. Right? But Brunson is the least of who I'm worried about. I'm worried about R.J. Barrett.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even worried about Randall. There may be a few possessions in which, maybe he gets a shot block. Maybe he doesn't take it. But I'm not really worried about him. I'm worried about R.J. Barrett the most. As far as them defending us, yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of worry about R.J. Barrett going around right now. You know what I'm saying? A lot of worry about it. When you look at the defensive matchups and who defends who, right? Obviously, Jalen Brunson is the smallest guy out there on the floor. I don't know. I don't even know if you would call right now in the starting lineup Jalen Brunson the weakest link. I think people would probably say that's RJ right now. You know what I'm saying? But Nate, what kind of matchups are you doing? You got Spencer Dinwiddie, Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, Dorian Finney-Smith, Nick Claxton.
I could honestly see Bridges on Randall because of his length. and the ability to switch and get, he can go on one guy and get back on Randall. I think if I'm the Nets coach, I'm stopping Randall. I'll give Brunson his 30 points, but I'm stopping Randall because when Randall and Brunson are both going off, the Knicks are pretty much unbeatable. Because those two guys going together and then the bench coming in with the points, you're pretty much going to score a bunch of points. But I think if I'm the Nets coach, I'm stopping Randall, and I'm saying Bridges, you're going to be on Randall a lot of the time. Yeah. Make that link, make him earn those shots, especially on the 3-point line. And he can get on the 3-point line and guard Randall.
Okay.
And so
I don't think Bridges can stop Randall like that. Maybe he can make it tough, but I think the size, the size difference means a lot. I think Randall can kind of bully his way to the basket with Bridges on him. Even though Bridges can make it tough, he's a good defender. I think, Randall's just a lot stronger than him.
Yeah, and that's going to be up to Randall to notice that and take it to the hole and get fouled and get easy baskets. Now, if he just stays out in the 3-point line and shoots threes the whole time, we're in trouble because
I'm not
it's
even
going to be hard
worried
to
about
shoot
that because Randall's been doing it the entire season. You know what I'm saying? He's been taking whatever shots are given to him.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's made Randall play the way he's played this season. He talked about it earlier. I'm taking my shots, whatever's available to me, I'm taking it.
Right.
And I'm not thinking about it. I'm not, going to be indecisive. I'm just going to be decisive and take whatever shot. And of course, he's been great at getting to the foul line this year. Steph, what would you do with the defensive matchups?
Listen, I'm looking at Barrett on Bridges. That last game, Bridges seems to, maybe flexing a little bit, saying, maybe I was held back a little bit in Phoenix playing with those other guys. I got a little more to my game,
right.
know? So, I think I would put Randall on Finney Smith.
Okay.
I think I would put Brunson on Cam Johnson. See, Brunson and Barrett creates issues in terms of who are they going to guard.
Right, exactly. That's what. See,
that's the issue. Who are they going to guard?
Right. Because I had Brunson on Finney Smith, even though there's a huge size difference because he's not really a scorer. Finney Smith, he's more of a defender.
Right.
That makes it tough. I think Finney Smith is like 6'7" or 6'8", right? But he's not really going to score a lot. That's the reason why I had Brunson there. But Barrett on Bridges is going to be your primary scorer on that team now. He's not. I don't know how much he's going to break you down off the dribble, but he is going to run off screens. You know what I'm saying? Or do you put Grimes on Bridges and Barrett on Dinwiddie?
I would put Barrett on Finney Smith.
Okay.
I just think at this point, how Barrett is playing, you have to put him on the person that you're not worried about scoring. That's just where I am.
I feel you.
That's just where I am right now.
Yeah.
And then I think Grimes is going to be on Bridges because I think Tibbs sees him as our best perimeter defender in that starting lineup.
Mm-hmm.
And Tibbs doesn't seem to be worried about size. Remember, he had him on Pascal Siakam.
Right. I know.
So I think Grimes might be on Bridges. I don't remember. Obviously they're going to be able to shoot over the top.
Right.
Yeah. Like shooting over a chair.
And then Barrett on Spencer Dinwiddie.
Brunson on Dinwiddie. Oh, that's going to be tough because Dinwiddie is one of those guys too.
That's right. Barrett on Finney Smith and so
that means Brunson is going to be on Cam. That's just going to be tough. Either way, it's going to be tough.
The reality, the only advantage I really see, honestly, for us is Randall, like you said, because Randall is a big guy. He can bully. He can take a lot of those thin frame guys and get them into the paint and, get them in foul trouble. But I'm telling you, man, this length all across the board for the Nets is scary. Claxton, even Dinwiddie with his wingspan, Finney Smith. I mean, man, it's a lot of length.
Spencer Dinwiddie is 6'5". right? Mikal Bridges, what is he? 6'7"?
6'7", yeah.
Right,
Probably like
6'7".
a 7-foot wingspan, though.
Oh yeah.
Right,
I
right,
might be
right,
overestimated,
Finney
but
Smith is over 7 at 6'8",
right.
his
And then you got
wingspan.
Cam Johnson is 6'8".
6'6", 6'6", yeah, 6'8".
Cam Johnson is 6'8". You
wow,
know,
I didn't know
so
that.
so
Wow.
right there with Mikal Bridges, Cam
Yeah.
Johnson, Dorian Finney-Smith, you got 3 guys, and Mikal Bridges is playing shooting guard.
Right.
So they definitely have some length out there. It's really, I mean, I guess it's really Jalen Brunson that brings down because R.J. Barrett's 6'7", Julius Randle 6'8", Jericho Sims is 6'10", Quentin Grimes is 6'5". It's really Jalen Brunson,
Right.
right? Because he's 6 foot or whatever. You know what I mean? Andy, your thoughts on the defensive matchups?
Awesome for me is I think it's going to be hard, like Steph said, but on the other hand, question is, are the Nets going to target Brunson on the defense, right? Because you guys are saying that Bridges is going to be the main scorer and stuff like that. I think Dinwiddie, Cam Johnson, they're more aggressive on the offensive end than Bridges. Bridges is going to take the open shot. He's going to take only the good look. He ain't going to force the offense. So even if you have a small defender on him like Brunson, he can stay under him. They know each other for so many years and stuff like that. I would envision Brunson trying to be the Marcus Smart of, when we had KP, that he's going to be under his legs. Like, he played versus Randall. He had the size, difference not on his end, but he was under the guy, right? And I wouldn't be surprised if that would be the case today. I think that if we leave Brunson on Dinwiddie is really going to try to attack him, because he's a guy that he has no fear. He's not afraid of being called a chucker or taking back shots and stuff like that. That's why, question for me is, are they going to try to pick on Jalen Brunson, or it's going to be, just free throw offense? Because if that's the case, I would envision Jalen Brunson on Mikal Bridges. I wouldn't see a problem that, I wouldn't see like the matchup being so bad on the Knicks side. Then on the opposite side, Sim, of course, let me add, and I was supposed to start with this. If there was a time that you could use zone versus these kind of guys, it's this game.
Right,
but we know
okay.
that ain't going to happen, right?
That's not happening.
So,
Right.
so going that way, question is if they're going to aim, or if they're going to go at Brunson. If they're not going to go, I would really envision him playing versus Bridges, because we know that Bridges ain't going to be, he might be aggressive, but it's not like he's going to post down from the 3-point line and try to score under the hoop and stuff like that.
Right.
He's rather the guy that takes the open look, they run a play for him, then he takes the good shot. If you have a pesky defender like Brunson, you might limit those, at least those attempts, which is going to cause a lower scoring game, right?
It's
Sim.
going to be interesting to see. It's going to be interesting to see the way Tibbs does the matchups. Real interesting. Go ahead, Nate.
One thing I do want to add that I did see in the Utah game that I haven't seen a lot this year, and maybe I'm wrong, but Colin Sexton went a lot at Brunson. He got physical with him, and I don't know if maybe it was just a back and forth. They kind of were just going mano a mano, but like he got physical with Brunson on the defense on when he drove to the basket against him. And I could see at times Dinwiddie doing that. Like, I don't think they're primarily going to be guarding each other, but I could definitely see if Dinwiddie sees an opportunity against Brunson on a switch, he gets physical with him because he's a bigger dude and takes him into the paint. Because I saw that with Colin in the last game. And I think if there's one weakness Brunson has is that he can get pushed around in the paint a little bit. Like Colin did have his moments where he did get pretty easy baskets on Brunson.
Yeah. See, I think, but I feel like Colin Sexton, that's his style of play.
Yeah.
Too. I kind of think that's who he is.
Mm-hmm.
I seen someone ask in the chat, I think Kevin Bergen, who's going to guard Randall. I actually think it's going to be Cam Johnson guarding Randall. I believe when he was in
barbecue
Phoenix,
chicken.
when he was in Phoenix, he guarded Randall. You know what I mean? I wouldn't put Bridges on him. If he's going to be one of your main scorers, you don't want him picking up fouls, guarding Randall, right? Because Randall is going to create some fouls. They might go Finney-Smith. So I would say between Cam Johnson and Finney-Smith as to who guards Randall.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then when you look at the bench, when you even on their bench, they got some length on their bench,
Royce.
right? You got Ben Simmons, who's 6'10", and he plays that guard spot, although he hasn't really been a threat at all this season. Royce O'Neal, but then they get small with Patty Mills. You got Joe Harris, you got Cam Thomas, of course. The Knicks got Emmanuel Quickly, Josh Hart, Obi Toppin, and Isaiah Hartenstein. Your thoughts, and I don't have any of the stats up because, it's an entirely new team that the Nets have. But your thoughts, Steph, on the bench or the benches?
I mean, in terms of shooters and scorers, they have it. Royce O'Neal is not shooting that well. His percentages, he hasn't been very efficient this year. Ben Simmons is still an enigma. But Cam Thomas can score. Joe Harris can shoot. Patty Mills can shoot. I'm just really liking our second unit. I just like the mix we have, with Quickly, Josh Hart, the way Isaiah Hartenstein has been playing as of late. We're going to talk about him on the Queen's Court, if we have time. I just like our unit, Sim. I just like our unit. Defensively, if Josh Hart is in that second unit, he'll probably be matched up with Cam Thomas. Cam Thomas minutes, he's in the second unit now, and his minutes are down. I don't know. On paper, it looks like their second unit is better. I just like the way our second unit is playing.
Right. And then RJ will probably be in that second unit as well.
Correct.
Right. So hopefully he's not guarding Joe Harris because I feel like he'll leave him out
he's
to
on
that
Simmons.
3-point line all
He's on
day.
Simmons.
Yeah, he's on Simmons, right? Exactly. Tony, what's going on, man?
What's good, Sam? Chat, the All-Star panel, what's going on?
Salute.
The bench. Well, just the Nets in general, I want to just state that even though they lost they superstars, right? They don't sleep. You know what I mean? They're still a dangerous team. Especially, like Sim just mentioned, he don't got the stats up. It's hard to game plan for this type of roster that is newly assembled. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, what guys brought on their previous teams or whatever the case, but this is a whole different situation. So it's really hard, I would assume, for the coach to even kind of game plan for it. And the bench, a lot of that second unit on the Nets, they could be starters. You know what I mean? They've played minutes and started minutes.
Right.
So, again, you can't really sleep on the bench unit as well. But to Queen's point, the way we're playing now, right? The togetherness, we're kind of putting things together right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I would give us the advantage, both starters and second unit. But we can't take the game lightly as far as the Knicks players.
Right.
You got to come in here like it's, not like this is a newly assembled team, but, focused.
Right.
And we should get this win.
Right. We should. I'm hoping we should. I'm hoping we should. It's always funny playing a team like this because you don't know what to expect. You don't know how they're going to play. You know what I mean? So you can't really game plan for them. You know what I mean? And they do have some talent. And Seth Curry's not even playing today. I mean, another shooter. You know what I'm saying? So it is kind of tough to game plan for a team like this, but the Knicks should, in theory, be able to get this win. And if they get a win today, they gain a game on the Nets. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
You can say 2 games, Sim.
2 games?
Yeah, you can say 2 games because we're gonna win and they're gonna lose, right? So it's not like it's gonna be only one.
Well, no,
difference.
that's why it's a game.
That's why it's a game. That's why it's
because
one
each
game.
one is like a half game. So
you can say half, right? But
Yeah, so they can gain a game on the Nets, and then of course they gain a game on them in the Atlantic Division as well. You know what I'm saying? You know, the Nets right now in the 5th seed, 33-23. The Knicks in the 7th seed, 31-27. The Knicks are currently a game and a half behind the Miami Heat for that 6th seed. And, you know, I'm pretty sure the Knicks and Miami and Atlanta, they're all hoping the Nets are going to fall so that they can jump up a spot, right? But you still got to beat them. Still got to beat them. And that's going to be easier said than done, without a doubt.
Starts tonight.
You know, easier said than done. I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting to see how this team, the Nets, round out. You know, once they get going, there's only 20-something games left to the season. They figure out how to stay 500. They can stay right there where they are, almost. They can figure out how to stay 500 for the remainder of the season. I got to make this a short show, you know, because I got to get to practice at a certain time, so I got to make it a short show. But I did want to get, Steph, your thoughts on Josh Hart, and Andy, your thoughts on Josh Hart from what you've seen in the previous game, and do you think he ends up becoming a starter? Because that was me, Tony, and Josh got into, Nate too, I think, got into a big argument about whether or not he'll become a starter, who he would start for, et cetera, et cetera. Andy, I'll start with you.
Well, Sam, if we see like 2-3 games in a row, like Josh Hart, his debut, I think he might start like in like a 5 games span from now. And he's going to probably start for Quentin Grimes because I don't see RJ being benched. But what we got to realize that he is going to eat up a couple of guys of minutes. It might be RJ minutes. It might be Quentin Grimes minutes. Of course, he took already Deuce's minutes. I wouldn't be surprised if he's going to be like literally the 6th man, even jumping in minutes over Emmanuel quickly. Wouldn't be surprised at all about that.
Yeah. Steph, any thoughts about how quick he took Deuce's minutes? Because there wasn't even a tryout. There wasn't even let's see how this looks. It was like Deuce, boom, you're done.
Yeah. He just came in and took his plate.
Yeah. Listen, I think the Knicks knew they needed an upgrade there. He was the weakest link. You know, as much as good as he was defensively, he was shooting 29% from the field.
Right.
And he defended well, but in terms of getting, running the team, he was okay. So I wasn't surprised if he was going to go to a 9-man rotation. I wasn't surprised that it would be Deuce, right? I was a bit surprised about how much he played. He played more than Emmanuel quickly. He played more than Grimes. Grimes was averaging 30-something minutes. He went down to 22.
I know.
And
yeah.
If I can add, I think between those two guys, the biggest difference is going to be the shooting efficiency.
Right.
If Grimes is going to be hot, he's going to get a couple of minutes, not even more, but a couple of minutes more than what he's going to average since Josh Hart is on the roster. But if Josh Hart, like in his debut, he hit like 2 for 2 for 3.
Yeah.
How are you going to bench that guy?
Right.
No,
he made every shot. He's going to, take the offensive boards.
3. I said, oh.
Yeah, I was like,
I was like, we need somebody to stretch the defense. Grimes isn't the most reliable 3-point shooter, but the potential is there, right?
Mm-hmm.
When he hit them 2 threes, I said, oh, he might be in the starting lineup the next
game. Right.
That's what Tony said. He said Monday. I think he's in the starting lineup Monday.
And Steph, if I can add also, when I saw Obi Toppin losing Kelly Olynyk and Olynyk got a fast break bucket on Obi, I was like, oh man, Obi getting no minutes. Like,
Tibbs already said he could play the 4. When Tibbs said that,
Exactly. Yeah, Tibbs, he don't play. If he got somebody, if he has someone that he says, this is who I want.
Can do it.
He's putting you out there on the floor. And it lets you know, it tells you all you need to know about Cam, Cam Reddish and what Tibbs thought about, his style of play, Evan Fournier. It lets you know what Tibbs thinks about these guys. Josh Hart comes in and gets 20-something minutes. He would have got 30 minutes if he didn't get his 3rd foul in the first
Right,
half,
so
I think,
soon.
or close to 30 minutes.
I bet you that Tibbs is going to motivate Mitch to get those rebounds. He's going to be like, listen, a guard can get you 8 rebounds and you can get like 10. Man, he's going to get your minutes.
You better get 10.
Yeah, I
mean,
think Tibbs. I think we're seeing. I just think I don't know if it was early in the season him being on the proverbial hot seat or whatever. I just feel like he's just not playing around now. Like
Oh, yeah.
Fournier, you out. I don't care how much money you're making. Rose, it's been real. I appreciate it. You're out. Obi came back from injury. His minutes is down from 17 to 10.
Right.
And I think that's probably in-house fighting about him getting those 10 minutes. If it was up to
Probably.
Tibbs, I don't even think Obi would be playing.
Right.
That's Elon Rose holding that
Right.
one
I
down.
think he would roll RJ at the 4. I think he would
He
roll with
might.
RJ at the 4
Right.
and a 3-guard lineup.
Yeah. We would be down to 7 man in rotation.
Yeah.
It was to Tibbs.
But you know what, Steph, you brought up a great point. I think quietly this team, expectation wise, has increased because you take a guy like Brunson, you pay him his money, you pay Randall, you pay RJ, so you can't be really mediocre. You have to try to get better. And I honestly believe if the Knicks felt that they were not getting better, they would not have gone after Hart. And so by going after Hart, they realized this is a piece we could use. This is a piece that's going to get us some more wins, can help us better on the defensive end. Like this is going to possibly get us into the playoffs or stay in the playoffs. And so the expectations have rose, even though some of us as fans still think like, man, we're just right in the middle still. We're not really doing anything. The front office thinks that, hey, this is the playoff team. We got young players that are contributing at high levels. And, we're just going to keep adding pieces.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
I think though that the trade was, it doesn't matter what way we were going, like championship this year, championship in 5 years. This trade was so loop-sided the Knicks way. I think they would do that deal every day, no matter if it's day one of the season, like trade deadline, whatever.
Right.
I think we gave up a guy that we didn't play, 2 guys that were practice contracts basically, and a first-round pick, which we still have a first-round pick in this year's draft.
Right.
So we didn't give up that much for a guy that's a proven not only rotation player, but he started for maybe not most of his career, but he started on some teams and he had good numbers on those starts.
Yeah.
So I think it was a no-brainer this trade.
Yeah.
Right. But it further cements the direction the Knicks are going in, away from a lottery developmental team. Because if you're going in that direction, you don't bring in Josh Hart.
Exactly.
Right.
And you don't trade your pick. That's the thing, right?
Exactly.
You don't-
Yeah, for sure on that.
Exactly. Yeah, the Knicks are trying to win ball games. They're building, right? They're in the midst of building. They're not. I don't think they're in talent acquisition mode anymore, right? There was a point in time where they were in talent acquisition mode. We're just going to acquire talent and then pick out who we like. Now I think it's more like we got some talent. Now let's start to define our roles and what we need and the type of people we need to put around our players.
That's what I was gonna say. Define the need now.
Yep.
Now it was talent, or a broad spectrum of talent. I think now it's gonna be specific targets, specific areas of need to kind of solidify and bring everything all together.
Well, they've hit on their young guy. They've hit on some of their young guys in the lower picks, and so they're happy with that because that's solidified their bench in a sense. And getting a guy like Hart, like I said earlier, he's can be a lead guard. He can step in a pinch if one of your starters gets hurt. Like he's a plug and play player. Like he's not gonna be an issue at all. Like if anything, he's gonna increase your team tremendously in defense and also offense efficiency.
Yeah. Let me get to.
And he's a long-term piece, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that. Let me get to a couple of super chats I missed the other day. The first one from Korean Jones. Thank you for the super chat. He said, at this point, any player in the G League can do what RJ does. He just shoots all the time and plays a lot of minutes and is never really penalized.
Ouch.
I don't know if any player in the G League can do what he does, but we need RJ to step up defensively at least. And then Danny Thomas, thank you for the super chat. He said, thoughts on signing Will Barton for the bench. I have no problems with signing Will Barton. You know what I mean?
Tibbs gonna play him.
You know, he. I don't know. He would probably be situational right now because it seems clear that Tibbs is going to stick with a 9-man rotation. You know, so he'd probably be situational. But as long as he was okay with being situational, you know, you got a guy that can come in and play some capable defense. You know, at the wing spot. You know, so I wouldn't have a problem with that. But anyway, I am going to get up out of here so I can get to practice and whatnot. I'll just go around quickly and get some predictions. Any predictions for tonight?
Oh, we better get this W, Sim. This is the day that the Knicks' fortune versus the Nets turns around, and there's no star power around New York that's gonna make us lose this game.
Right. Okay. So, Steph.
Yeah, the star power is on the Knicks, in my opinion. So I think we get this win, and Queens Court is early tonight, 6:30, as the Knicks play at 7:30.
Yep. Nate.
As a fan base, the Knicks have their foot on the Nets neck right now. Let's keep it going. Let's put them away and win tonight. Got to.
And Tony.
Knicks and Bruises at 5. Shout out to the chat. I was gonna remind you about those super chats, so I'm glad you got to it. And I want the chat in particular. Somebody's from Portugal. I want to shout that gentleman out for joining us. And 30 and 30 again for Brunson and Randall.
Oh, let's get it.
Let's get it. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're out of here. Appreciate your time. Peace.
This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim pass the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.